Hey yo, what's good coders? This is Bagare and we are back with another video where we simplify these coding concepts. So in this video, I'll show you a step-by-step process on how to implement our HTTP interceptor. So how this thing works is it intercepts our request where we can actually modify like our actual request before sending it through to the server, right? So I like that you fully understand the concepts before I actually implement like the code. So let's go to Postman and show you what actually mean, right? So over here, right, we see that we have like some methods that are authorized, like this get all tasks, right? Which when we like actually send through like this request, we'll get here an error saying this is unauthorized, right? So if we're not authorized, meaning that we don't have like a JWT, right? Which actually with an actual authorized user to actually use this method. So what we need is first log in, right? Copy this, right? And we needed to come here in our authorization and add like this token of type bearer token, save that. And then now if we actually use the same endpoint, we'll actually, did I save that? Okay, that was an error, right? Save that. And if I actually now test it out, we'll actually get like the results, right? So now if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's go to implementing like the code in Angular, right? So first and foremost, what you'll need over here, right, is we'll first test this through, right? Is if we actually like log in, we should get our result with our actual token, right? So now let's get to our application and log in bug array at gmail.com and then 12345. Then if we sign up, right, we see that we've got this token, right? So then if we check in our local storage, we don't have like our actual token, right? So what we first need to do is actually attach this token somewhere in our local storage so we can actually use that token, right, to attach to our request headers, right? So what we need to actually do something of that sort is we first wanna create like our auth interceptor, right? So we'll need a folder over here, which is our helper folder, right? And next thing here, we'll just have like our auth.interceptor, our auth interceptor, right? .ts, which is that. And then we'll need to export a class, which is our auth interceptor, right, which implements our HTTP interceptor, right? So now we'll just need to say quick fix, implement our interface, right? Okay, so we also know that this class is an injectable, right? Injectable, right? And then yeah, so that's what we need, right? So now what we see over here is that's actually okay, we cleared out the redirect. So what we see over here is if we actually test this through, right? So let's come here, right? So if we try to test this through, we'll see that in our request, let's clear this. If we actually like get that, we get a successful, but in our headers, we don't have like our authorization, right? Header. If we even test it again, right, we still don't have like our authorization header. So what we first need to do is actually come here and implement this. So what we need is we want to say get our token, and then here in our token we'll get something, right? And then if our token actually exists, right, we'll do something. And then else if our token doesn't exist, right, so we just want to return our next dot handle, handle. We just want to continue with like the request, right? So we'll just pass in like our request. So right, so we need to first know how to get like our token, right? So we said we're going to be using like what's this, local storage to do that. So first and foremost, before we use that local storage, we'll need over here in our auth service to add like a method, which actually like a name, which is our token name, right? Which is read only token name, right? Which is like a type string, which is equal to our token. So that's our token name, token, right? So the name of our token name is token, right? So now let's go to our login and say after logging in, right? Log in, we'll say local storage dot set item, right? Because we want to set our token. Then from our auth service, we'll just get our token name, right? And then we'll attach this results dot token, because that's actually what we need, right? So we'll say this is coming from our token. So set item, right? In our auth service, our token name is results from our results dot get the token, right? Okay, now let's save this over here. And then in order for us now to get like our token, we'll get it from our local storage dot get item, right? But now we need to get that token name from our auth service. So we need a constructor so we can inject our auth service, right? And then this is coming from our auth service. All right. So yeah, so in our auth service, we want to get this token name, right? All right. So now what we say is if our token actually exists, right? So now let's actually modify our headers, right? So before we can modify like this request headers, we first need to have like a clone of the actual request and then modify that clone, right? So what we'll do is we'll have our clone, all right? This is a clone of our request. So we can just have this request clone, right? And then on our request clone, we'll get this from our request dot headers, right? Because that's what we want to modify. No. This is our request clone. We want a clone of our request, and that's what we're modifying, right? So we'll have like our headers over here because we're modifying from the headers. And then what we'll do is from our request dot headers, we want to set something, right? Okay, so what are we setting over there, right? So here we're setting like our we're setting our authorization, right? And then in our authorization, the type that we're going to be using over here is going to be our barrier token, right? So barrier token, then we'll just attach this token over here. Save that. No, this is fine. Like that. We want to just close this. No, close this. And then we'll just return next dot handle, right? Our request clone, which is our request clone that has all this modified headers, right? So what this method does is it checks that, okay, get our actual token, right? If there is like a token exists, then modify your headers, then send through your request. But if it doesn't exist, just continue with your actual HTTP request, right? So now let's go about actually testing this through, right? So we want to come here to the browser and actually clear this, and now let's log in. Bug. So this is bugarray@gmail.com, then 1 2 3 4 5, and then let's now log in and check in our request, right? So if we check over here, obviously our first request wouldn't have like our authorization attached to it, because if you go about thinking about it, is by that moment we hadn't have set like our local storage, right? So if you go about doing it again, request headers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The reason why this thing is not working is because we didn't actually include like this in our app modules, right? So now let's go about actually doing that. So this thing works. Oh, I almost forgot that. So in our app modules, what we need to do is actually over here in our providers, right? We want to provide, right? And what we're providing is our HTTP interceptors, right? And then use class, and what class we're using, which is our auth interceptor, right? And we want to set multi. So multi means that we can like have like use multiple types of this, right? So we'll wanna gen search here to chew. Let's save this. I think this should work. Let's see. Moment of truth. Okay, so let's go here and actually run this. Right, clear and say bug array at gmail.com. 1 2 3 4 5, right? So now let's test this. Let's see. So does this actually work? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, it does work, because if we see over here, this intercepted this from our actual first request. So it adds this authorization, this bearer token with our actual JWT, and then this sends it through, which then gets like a response attached to it. Okay, that's fine, that's fine, that works. Okay, so now what we need to do is actually now let's go to our HTTP, let's go to our actual login again, right? And we would want to redirect this user to our actual homepage, right? We want to redirect them to our homepage. Once this is fine, we'll just say router dot and then navigate by URL, and then we want to send them through to our homepage. But in our homepage, instead of using this okay, let's go back to our homepage. Instead of using this get to do, right, which is a very dodgy method that we are using, because we're getting this from our mock data, right? So what we want to do is actually have https.http.get, right? In our getter, we want to use our environments from our envir. So okay, want to use that, and that's coming from our environments. So $, environments dot API URL, and then we'll say /, no, want to say, then we'll say / and we want to get this request, right? Because this should be coming from this request. All right, so now let's just go about implementing that. All right, so yeah, so okay, so this is what we first want to do, right? Let's go back here in our actual folder here, that, and then we want to go to our home page, right, which is then implementing this get data, right? Obviously this might not be structured as we want, but what is important over here is we want to just console.log our actual data, right? So if we actually do get there, right, and we do get like our data, then we'll just say data, right? That will give us like our response with our actual data. If not, if we have like an error, we'll just say error, right, which is of type any, and then we just say this error function console log, and then we should like have like our error, and in our error we'll just console log our actual error, right? So let's now go about testing this and see if this thing works, right? So first and foremost, what we'll need to do is actually we want to just comment out our auth first, right? So before we use our actual clone, let's just comment out our clone and say return HTTP our next, right, dot handle, right, and then we just want to handle just our normal request and see. So this should actually, this is the same as this, right? So this shouldn't work basically. So let's go about testing it out. So if we go about testing this thing out, we clear our console, we clear our network, and then we'll say bug array at gmail.com, and then 1 2 3 4 5. Let's go. Let's see our console, right? So we do get an error, and this will say this is due to this has blocked cause, right? And this is also due to, okay, this is because like of a blocked cause issue, right? So let's see here in our tasks. Let's come here and actually see if that's the case, right? We do have our task, and yeah, that's true, right? We don't have like our cause. So when I enable cause, when I enable our cause over here, stop that and rerun that. So this cause should be using this cause, right? So we'll just say no, this implements using that, and that should be okay. So if we save this and rerun our API, so now this shouldn't be giving us like a blocked cause, right? Issue. I forgot that when I was just implementing this. So let's go back and actually now test this out. Let's come here and we want to say local from our login, right? And this is a mobile web bug array at gmail.com. When I come to our console, then our password is 12345. Right, let's check it out. Yes, our password is 12345. Now let's send this through. Did this work? Okay, yeah, so now we see that we have like a potential issue over here, which is a 401, and a 401 is like an unauthorized, meaning that we can't actually use that method because it's not authorized, right? But now that's because we actually didn't have this whole clone and we are not passing in our actual clone of our request. So if we remove now this, right, I guess this should work. Moment of truth, right? So let's now go about this, testing this. So bug array at gmail.com, then password. No. This is 12345. That's our password. Alright, so now let's go about testing this. Yeah, so now we see that we do have like our actual data. We do have our actual data showing over here, and yeah, we also do know like the reasoning as to why some of the other fields aren't actually showing over here, and that's because these are not actually mapping to the actual types that we're getting from our response, which we're gonna fix in our next video. So if you like this video and you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now peace.